All right, let's get into this complaint. This is a 53-page complaint from Kirk Burrows versus Janice Combs. And we know the reason that it is versus Janice Combs is because Janice is the person who has the ownership of Bad Boy, right? Um, after Diddy basically persuaded Kirk to give over his which we're going to get into in just a second. Janice is the person who was in control. Diddy is not. It's not in Diddy's name. It's in Janice's name. All right, so let's go. Here we have Kirk Burrows against Janice Smalls, aka trial requested, and this case is still pending. Okay, so plaintiff Kirk Burrows, by and through his attorney Tyrone Blackburn. So already, I'm not really sure how this case is going to turn out because Tyrone Blackburn has really not had a lot of success. I don't know why he chose Tyrone Blackburn. But anyway, as in for his complaint against defendants Janice Combs, lawyer Doe 1, James Doe 1, ABC Company, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Preliminary statement. This case arises from an elaborate and calculated scheme executed by defendant Janice Smalls in collusion with Sean Combs, Kenneth Miselas, their lawyer, and others to illegally seize plaintiff Kirk Burrows' 20% interest in Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, a New York corporation, and his 15% share of annual earnings, thereby depriving him to access of his equitable financial interests and benefits derived from both plaintiff and defendant's operation. So not only did they take his 25% ownership, but they took his 15% share of his annual earnings. Like, what the heck? Okay. All right. Plaintiff, an integral co founder and executive of Bad Boy Entertainment, contributed significant financial investment, industry expertise, and leadership to Bad Boy Entertainment. Through his efforts, Plaintiff helped the company evolve from an amateur startup entity to a global musical powerhouse. Yes, he did. And we saw that in the documentary. So I don't understand how in 2006 they determined that he did not have standing um, to get his 25% back. I don't get that, but maybe they'll get into it here. Rather than honoring their contractual obligation, okay, there was a contract. Defendants exploited plaintiff's trust, yep, by misrepresenting key business dealings, minimizing and erasing his pivotal role in Bad Boy Entertainment's global success, and by implementing coordinated coercion and deceit tactics to defraud him out of his contractually acquired and earned beneficial ownership in and compensation from his efforts with Bad Boy Entertainment, thereby further depriving plaintiff of access to his equitable financial interests and benefits derived from both plaintiff and defendant's operation of Bad Boy Entertainment. Okay, that was a run-on sentence, and I need to break that down. All right, I'm gonna read that again. Plaintiff, an integral co founder and executive of Bad Boy Entertainment, contributed significant financial investment, industry expertise, and leadership to Bad Boy Entertainment. Okay, check, we got that. Through his efforts, Plaintiff helped the company evolve from an amateur startup entity to a global music powerhouse. Check, got that too. And we saw that in the documentary. Rather than honoring their contractual obligation. Okay, I want to know more about that because in the documentary, he doesn't really talk about that. So I would like to know more about the contractual obligations. The defendants exploited plaintiff's trust by misrepresenting key business dealings, minimizing and erasing his pivotal role in Bad Boy Entertainment's global success, and by implementing coordinated coercion and deceit tactics to defraud him of his contractually acquired and earned beneficial ownership in and compensation from his efforts with Bad Boy Entertainment, thereby depriving plaintiff of access to his equitable financial interests and benefits from both plaintiff and defendant's operation. Okay, now I got it. Let me move on. They need to use like some semicolons or commas or something. Okay. Defendant Smalls engaged in a decades long scheme of intimidation. Smalls, you're talking about Janice, talking about the mama, engaged in decades long scheme of intimidation, violence, fraudulent misrepresentation, and financial concealment to strip plaintiff of his rightful ownership interests in and to Bad Boy Entertainment. One appalling example of defendant's egregious conduct stems from an incident that occurred in 1996. So this has been going on since 1996. Okay. Specifically, in May 1996, with defendant Small's knowledge, so with the mama's knowledge, Sean Combs, son of defendant, stormed into plaintiff's office located in a highly populated commercial office space within Bad Boy Entertainment, accompanied by Kenneth, however you say the last name, Esquire, while plaintiff was working. During this incident, defendant Small's son, Mr. Combs, made threatening statements while erratically wielding a baseball bat. Defendant Small's son, Mr. Combs, then presented a contract to plaintiff, which he had never seen before. Plaintiff, under extreme duress and in justified fear for his physical safety and life, did not read the contract. Huh? Okay. But nevertheless signed the contract without the guidance of proper legal representation. My God, I would have signed Donald Duck on that motherfucker. Okay. He later discovered his signature on the aforesaid contract conveyed away his rightful 25 ownership interests into Bad Boy Entertainment. I need more information. I need more information. I need more information. Okay, I need more information. Because I have so many questions. Like they just rolled up in your office, okay, and he came with a lawyer and they just dropped some papers on your desk and he had a bat and he was like, look, sign this over. Because in the documentary, it's like he's telling him, hey, I need the money for something. Like, can you give me the money for something? So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Number 4. Defendant Smalls acting individually and in concert with Kenneth Esquire, her son, Sean Combs, James Doe 1, Lawyer Doe 1, and other unknown co-conspirators engaged in an egregious and unlawful campaign of coercion, deceit, and misrepresentation in a concerted effort to justifiably wrest away plaintiff's 25% ownership interest in and to Bad Boy Entertainment, and to appropriate plaintiff's compensation, benefits, and intellectual property, which were all derived from his decades long contribution to Bad Boy Entertainment. Yeah, Diddy and his mama, they've been trifling for years. Seem like over a span of decades, defendant Smalls continuously deceived plaintiff by concealing her role, yeah, because we didn't know that she was on, in the illegal and violent transfer of plaintiff's 25% ownership interest in and to Bad Boy Entertainment, inclusive of Bad Boy Entertainment stock. Defendant Small's fraudulent concealment of her role in Bad Boy Entertainment and her involvement with the aforesaid incident that took place in May 1996 was which deprived plaintiff of significant financial compensation and employment benefit and caused him irreparable personal, psychological, and professional harm. Upon information and belief, defendant Smalls profited immensely from her conspiracy with her son Sean Combs and Kenneth Esquire, James Doe 1, Lawyer Doe 1, and other unknown co-conspirators, leaving plaintiff destitute, homeless, and excluded from Bad Boy Entertainment, a company he co-created and provided significant financial contributions to, without which Bad Boy Entertainment would not have attained the global success it currently holds. And it definitely would not be anywhere without Kirk Burrows. Like, justice for Kirk Burrows, because he needs to get his just due. For real. As recently as 2021, defendant Smalls further exploited what? Plaintiff's trust. So this started in 1996. So now we are up to 2021. Specifically, defendant Smalls solicited plaintiff's expertise, and assistance with respect to the development of a historical documentary about the history of Bad Boy Entertainment. He couldn't call me for shit. I wouldn't answer the phone for nothing. Plaintiff, still unaware of defendant Small's unlawful campaign of coercion, deceit, and misrepresentation, which led to his ousting at Bad Boy Entertainment, hesitantly agreed to provide his assistance. Let me read that back. As recently as 2021, defendant Smalls further exploited plaintiff's trust. Specifically, defendant Smalls solicited defendant Smalls. This is the mama. So she called him. So Puffy didn't call him because he knew not to call him. But he had his mama call him, asked for her expertise asked for his expertise and assistance with respect to the development of a historical document. So you take away all my ownership stake and you remove any earnings that I can make from the company that I helped to co-found, and you had the nerve to call me and ask for my expertise? Mind you, this happened in 1996. In 2006, he lost the case where he didn't get his ownership. So why in the world would he work with them in 2021? Okay. Defendant Smalls subsequently reneged on their agreement of compensation and collaboration in connection with Bad Boy Entertainment documentary, thereby perpetuating a pattern of exploitation, coercion, and deceit. All right, I've had enough, and I'm only on the third page. So in 2021, Janice hit him up and was like, hey, we need your help. We're going to do a historical documentary about the history of Bad Boy. He didn't want to do it. Kirk was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. But he did it. He agreed. So I guess they promised him some kind of money or something. And then she reneged on that. Okay, girl. For years, defendants misled plaintiff, falsely reassuring him that they would rectify the theft of his ownership interests while actively concealing the unlawful, involuntary transfer of plaintiff's 25% ownership interest in Bad Boy Entertainment to third parties. Hold on. Wait. So they sold that 25% interest, which goes back to the documentary, right? Because Puffy was like he needed the money. So, okay, that makes sense. He sold that. And then it goes back to what they were just saying, that Miss Combs benefited financially, right, from that, from them taking that 25%. Okay. So in 2019, at Diana Ross's VIP event, defendant Small's son, Sean Combs, admitted to the wrongdoing that he and his mother, defendant Smalls, engaged in that led to the incident that occurred in 1996, claiming that they needed to make things right. However, this was yet another strategic delay tactic as no corrective action was ever. Who did they say that to? How did he get that information? I would like to know. Defendants not only defrauded plaintiff of his rightful ownership interest in and to Bad Boy Entertainment by effectuating the involuntary transfer, they also systematically sabotaged plaintiff's career, which we have Puffy to do. Defendants blacklisted, a term that is commonly known in the music and entertainment industry, him from various music and industry events, companies, gatherings, and business opportunities. Additionally, they engaged in a concerted effort to destroy his professional reputation, in which they succeeded. Defendants' concerted efforts ensured plaintiff would no longer have income, security, and would remain financially destitute and unable to reclaim what was rightfully his. Oh my God. Defendants not only defrauded plaintiff of his rightful stake in Bad Boy Entertainment, but also systematically sabotaged his career. They blacklisted him from the music industry, blocked business opportunities, and destroyed his professional reputation, ensuring he would remain financially destitute and unable to claim what was rightfully his. Okay, so they just had a repeat of what they just said. Who wrote this? Who wrote this complaint? I don't know. They didn't edit it. Okay. Defendants deliberately misused corporate assets, engaged in corporate waste and financial mismanagement by directing company funds be used for luxury personal expenses, unauthorized real estate transactions, and fraudulent business deductions, directly impacting plaintiff's 15% profit share, which caused plaintiffs substantial financial harm. Defendants' actions all but obliterated the so-called corporate veil. So that may be true, but that is all the way back in 1996. So, yeah, I'm sure that as Puffy grew, because Kirk Burrows said that he wanted him to take $50,000 out of the corporate money to buy a necklace or some jewelry for Suge Knight's girlfriend or something like that. So we know that he was misappropriating business funds way back then, but I wonder if the judge will say, hey, you know what, it stops right here in 1996 because you haven't had ownership since then. Would it go to 2025? I don't know. That's an interesting question. But plaintiff now seeks a reprieve for the egregious injustices and deliberate wrongdoings leveraged against him. This lawsuit seeks compensatory and punitive damages, equitable remedies, and all other relief deemed just and proper to address defendants' fraudulent, deceptive, and unlawful conduct. Specifically, reinstatement of plaintiff's full 25, what? That's what you want? Full 25% ownership interest in and to Bad Boy Entertainment, compensatory damages for his 15% profit share, plus accrued interest, an independent forensic financial audit of Bad Boy Entertainment's earnings from its inception to the present, and injunctive relief to prevent further exploitation. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's keep going. Parties. Plaintiff Kirk Burrows is a renowned executive in the music and entertainment industry and co-founder of Bad Boy Entertainment, and was contractually entitled to 25% ownership in and to Bad Boy Entertainment and a 15% share of Bad Boy Entertainment's annual earnings. As a co-founder of Bad Boy Entertainment, plaintiff was instrumental in shaping the company's success, serving as its chief operating officer and general manager. Plaintiff dedicated his curated expertise, time, and substantial resources to Bad Boy Entertainment, including managing daily operations, overseeing artist development, and contributing to Bad Boy Entertainment's overall growth. Defendant Janice Smalls, aka Janice Combs, is a resident of Miami, Florida. She is the alleged. Oh, no, they did not say that. Because I have heard that she is not his mom. I did hear that. My God, okay. She is the alleged mother, in quotes, of Sean Combs. They're messy. Tyrone Blackburn is very messy. And a key figure in the inception of Bad Boy Entertainment. Defendant Smalls was the business partner of plaintiff and owned 75% ownership interest into Bad Boy Entertainment, while plaintiff owned the remaining 25%. Defendant Janice Smalls knowingly participated in the fraudulent scheme to obtain 100% control of Bad Boy Entertainment. She falsely denied receiving plaintiff's 25% share until 24, when records revealed her role in the involuntary transfer of plaintiff's ownership interests in and to Bad Boy Entertainment in May of 1996. Okay, so they got it on record that she was involved. Defendant Smalls, and that's why he's bringing this up in 2025. I get it. Defendant Smalls held significant influence over Bad Boy Entertainment's affairs and, as alleged, knowingly conspired to deprive plaintiff of his own interests in and to Bad Boy Entertainment. She benefited substantially from the actions of her son, Sean Combs, while misrepresenting her involvement. Defendant Lawyer Doe 1 is an attorney licensed to practice in the law of in the state of New York. He served as legal counsel to Bad Boy Entertainment and defendant Small's son, Sean Combs, playing a central role in orchestrating and executing the scheme to deprive plaintiff of his ownership interests and to Bad Boy Entertainment. They did not proofread this over. All right, and then you have defendant lawyer Doe 1, defendant James Doe 1. Defendant James Doe 1 is an individual residing in the state of New York. He is a prominent musical producer, entrepreneur, and of Bad Boy Entertainment. What? James Doe 1 played a central role in the company's formation and operation. Who is that? James Doe 1 directly participated in the alleged wrongful acts, including the coercion and involuntary transfer of plaintiff's 25% ownership interest in and to Bad Boy Entertainment. As alleged, defendant James Doe 1 used threats of physical violence to force plaintiff to relinquish his ownership interest and conspired with defendant. Okay, so James Doe 1 is Diddy. Okay. Yeah. Oh, like who is that? That's Diddy. Okay. Got that. ABC Company is a record label founded in the state of New York, so that's Bad Boy. Upon information and belief, these unnamed defendants include associations, agents, and business entities connected to the named defendants who participated in or benefited from the wrongful conduct. All right, then we get to jurisdiction, which is in the Southern District of New York. I know they are sick of Diddy. My God. Oh, and they got pictures. General Manager Kirk Burrows. That's a shame. Okay, factual background. Plaintiff co-founded Bad Boy Entertainment alongside defendant Janice Smalls and owned a 25% stake in the business. Plaintiff also served as Bad Boy Entertainment's chief operating officer and general manager, operational and management responsibilities integral to Bad Boy Entertainment's success. Janice Smalls co-founded Bad Boy Entertainment with the plaintiff and relied heavily on plaintiff's managerial expertise and financial resources to establish the company. I would like to know the number of the financial resources just because I'm nosy. Despite this, defendant Smalls reneged on promises of equitable ownership and profit sharing, choosing instead to exploit plaintiff's contributions for her financial enrichment. Now, get this, y'all. I feel like, because Diddy was always taking videos of people, maybe that also has something to do with it. Like, me, because we seen Reggie Wright, we seen Gene Deal. They're like, hey, people knew that they had a relationship together. Maybe he was trying to like hold that over his head, like he does other celebrities. Like, oh, I got you on video doing da 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 with me. I'm gonna release it if you don't give me that 25%. I don't know. I feel like there was some type of coercion that involved exposing of his like sexuality or something. Okay, get back to number 33. Despite this, defendant Smalls reneged on promises of equitable ownership and profit sharing, choosing instead to exploit plaintiff's contribution. Okay, I got that. That's his business card. And we see him right here. There's Diddy, Plaintiff Burrows, and his Bad Boy Entertainment artists and staff. This was also in the documentary. All right, so Kenneth Esquire, serving as legal counsel for Bad Boy Entertainment, played an instrumental role in facilitating the incorporation, operational structuring of the company. So he's been around for a very long time. He prepared the necessary documents, advised Smalls and Burrows on strategy, and concealed material information related to the allocation of ownership interests, including plaintiff's agreed upon 25% equity stake. What? As well as his 15% share of Bad Boy Entertainment's annual profit. Defendant Smalls knowingly benefited from plaintiff's financial and managerial contributions while deliberately excluding him from ownership rights and profit sharing. Plaintiff's contributions included significant seed funding, like I said, how much I want to know, which paid for the services of Burt Padell, a business manager and accountant, and Kenneth. Hold on. So Burrows is the person that paid Kenneth, but number 35 says that Kenneth concealed material information related to the allocation of ownership interests, including plaintiff's agreed upon 25% stake and his 15% share. So you were paying him, but he was doing you dirty. This story is. And there go Kenneth right there. Oh, we need some answers, Kenneth, because I'm confused. Plaintiff personally financed, conceptualized, and executed the foundation of Bad Boy Entertainment, ensuring its legal incorporation, financial stability, and strategic market positioning. Plaintiff's early investments and business acumen transformed Bad Boy Entertainment from a conceptual venture into a fully operational and revenue generating entity. And that we saw in the documentary as well. His contributions are corroborated by corporate filings, external communications, business records, and financial transactions. Official incorporation records confirm that Bad Boy Entertainment was formally established on June 9th, 1992, in New York as a domestic business corporation with Corporation Service Company designated as the registering agent. Plaintiff played an instrumental role in securing and structuring the company, ensuring it complied with its legal and financial requirements. Bad Boy Entertainment initially operated from 144 1440 Broadway, New York, a strategic location secured through plaintiff's direct involvement. Recognizing the need for expanded operation, plaintiff facilitated the relocation to 1540 Broadway, floor 30, which allowed the label to increase its industry influence and commercial reach. These records directly corroborate plaintiff's pivotal role in Bad Boy Entertainment's corporate development. Okay, cool. During the formative years of Bad Boy Entertainment, plaintiff dedicated extensive time and resources without compensation. No. Committing himself to structuring the company, building industry relationships, and securing key deals that solidified Bad Boy Entertainment's dominance in the music business. His visionary leadership was critical to the company's foundation and trajectory. Mm. Plaintiff's executive responsibilities included negotiating and executing artist contracts, securing top-tier talent that fueled Bad Boy Entertainment's early success, managing daily business operation, ensuring fiscal discipline, and establishing corporate policy. I mean, he had like a million jobs, developing and implementing strategic initiatives that propelled Bad Boy Entertainment to global prominence. Plaintiff's contributions and ownership interests are meticulously recorded in over 1,000 pages of detailed business journals, corporate filings, and executive communications. Since the inception of Bad Boy Entertainment through his unlawful and involuntary ousting, these records establish his rightful ownership claim and undermine defendants' fraudulent actions. So I need to know, like, if Kenneth, the person who you were paying, if that you paid him and Diddy just rolled up in the office with a bat and was like, hand me this, give this to me. Like, how did this work? Defendant Janice Smalls engaged in a pattern of calculated deception, intentionally misrepresenting her role with Bad Boy Entertainment and the May 1996 incident, while covertly working to exclude plaintiff from ownership and financial benefits derived from his involvement with Bad Boy Entertainment. Defendant Smalls, in concert with Sean Combs and Kenneth, engaged in a conspiracy to defraud plaintiff by manipulating legal findings, withholding financial disclosures, and foregoing internal agreements to systematically remove plaintiff from decision making and equity participation. Huh. So this had to be going on while he was still there before he was fired. So before they took away his interest, it was already playing games. That's what this seems like. Defendant Smalls exploited plaintiff's personal and professional trust, regularly seeking his guidance and protection from Combs. What? Volatile and abusive behavior. Yeah, he did say in the documentary he saw Puffy hit her. So, wow. Regularly seeking his guidance and protection from Sean Combs' volatile and abusive behavior. Plaintiff personally witnessed Combs physically assault his mom. Oh my God. Calling her derogatory slurs, aggressively overpowering her, and demonstrating a pattern of violence and coercive control. He says that in the documentary too. And Gene Deal has said that a lot of people, Roger Bonds, have seen or have stated that they saw him treat his mom like that. Okay, defendant Smalls knowingly aligned herself with her son and Kenneth to orchestrate plaintiff's involuntary ousting, fully aware that her continued financial enrichment depended on eliminating plaintiff's legal claims to Bad Boy Entertainment. Yeah, I'm sure it did. She played an active role in executing fraudulent transfers, fabricating legal agreements, and concealing financial transactions. Despite years of verbal assurances and a seemingly deep personal relationship with plaintiff and defendant Small, she deliberately orchestrated his exclusion, taking full control of Bad Boy Entertainment's assets and revenue while denying plaintiff access to the financial rewards of his labor and investment. Yeah, Miss Combs, we got questions for you, girl. Because what is going on? Plaintiff's initial financial contributions to Bad Boy Entertainment were critical in covering the company's foundational expenses, including corporate registration and licensing fees required for legal entity formation, office space acquisition, and operational infrastructure costs, legal retainers, business development expense, and strategic investment. Okay, so he put out a nice coin. Let's be clear. He put out some money in the beginning. Not necessarily for the corporate registration. Like, okay, whatever. That's probably like $100. Licensing fee, maybe that's gonna, yeah, be a little bit more. But the office space acquisition, and operational infrastructure costs. So he got the space, he built it up. Legal retainers, paying Kenneth, business development expenses. Yeah, yeah. He needs to be paid. Defendant Smalls directly benefited from these financial outlays, fraudulently maintaining control over corporate funds and assets while systematically denying plaintiff his rightful equity stake. Defendant Small's fraudulent conduct was intentional and malicious, including concealing corporate financial records to obfuscate plaintiff's equity claims. The person who wrote this probably don't even know what obfuscate means. They don't even be using periods. Anyway, number two, knowingly filing false documentation to facilitate his exclusion, misrepresenting ownership structure to third parties. Yeah, that's it right there. And industry stakeholders. Yeah, yeah, okay. Filing false documentation to facilitate misrepresenting owner because they wanted to act like they owned the whole thing and they did not. He owned that, but I think they sold that 25% off to get more equity and give more money to the company. I would have to see like what financial position that they were in 1996 because what they started in 1992. So I would like to see where they were because at that point Biggie had passed away. So they was bringing in money for sure. They weren't bringing in money from Junior Mafia, right? Because the publishing was in Junior Mafia's name, like Little Kim and stuff like that. But they were getting money from Biggie in his catalog after his death. So I would like to know. I got to do a video on that. I would like to know. Anyway, let's see. As a direct result of defendant's unlawful actions, plaintiff has suffered substantial financial losses, reputational harm, and severe emotional distress, including the fraudulent deprivation of his 25% ownership interest and 15% share of the annual profit. Okay, we got that. Career blacklisting and a reputational sabotage orchestrated by Sean Combs and his mom. I believe that. A complete obstruction of his professional earnings, leaving him in financial ruin. They. All right, so I'm gonna stop right here. In the next video, I'm gonna pick back up with Kenneth, this lawyer who seems pretty sleazy, but we got to get more into it. And Sean Combs, how they engage in this criminal activity. So like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.